Where are you from? Where are you really from? I'm Toyin Fatubarin. My family and I love spending time by the water in the summer. 3 summers ago, we visited Clear Lake. It's about 3 hours outside of Winnipeg. It's a beautiful place. But one experience left a bitter taste in my mouth. An older woman and her husband walked up to my family and asked, "Where are you visiting from?" I responded, "We drove down from Winnipeg." She said, "Where are you visiting from?" "We are from Winnipeg." Then she said, "Where are you really from?" I answered her, but I was mortified. That experience tainted my view of that beautiful lakeside. I pondered on that question for a while. Let me tell you freely, my experience is not unique in any way. I'm a proud Winnipegger and have lived in this city for almost 10 years now. Last fall, I organized a conference for immigrant professionals in Canada. Creating spaces like that bring so much joy because you can literally feel possibilities being unlocked in folks as they see and hear stories of how other immigrant professionals are thriving in career, in business, in different spheres of life. So why does that question still exist? Where are you really from? Because despite the evidence, despite the contributions, immigration is still often seen through a lens of doubt instead of value. Canada's labor force growth in recent years has come from immigration. Immigrants contribute significantly to research, to technology, to innovation capacity. In Canada, there are over 800,000 self-employed immigrants, with many employing others. Immigrants are not on the sidelines of this economy. They are actively building it. So the problem isn't contribution. The problem is perception. And that perception shows up in multiple ways. It shows up in systems. Highly skilled professionals spend years trying to re-enter fields they already mastered. It shows up in workplaces where there are flawed expectations in hiring decisions. There are expectations to have Canadian experience to gain entry into the Canadian workforce. And in some cases, what your name sounds like speaks louder than your capabilities. It shows up internally. For the immigrants, leaving known to unknown is a major life change. Combine that with navigating your new normal, finding your dream job, putting your kids in school, or the hassle of finding a daycare spot, and being questioned, where are you from? And sometimes with a hint of, do you belong here? That can make you start to question your capabilities if unchecked. But it's not all grim. There is hope. And what does that hope look like? I saw it in the conference that I organized. I've seen and heard of it in stories of many. I've seen it in my own case too. What levers can unlock more of that hope? For the government, consider the credential process. A body system can be built into regulated industries to evaluate what is truly needed to aid entry and to harness talent quicker and efficiently. For the employer, instead of evaluating a candidate by how much Canadian experience they bring into your organization, a more balanced way would be by how much value they bring, regardless of the origin of experience. For the individual, show up and lead with value without excluding yourself. When immigrants show up grounded in the value they bring, we begin to see immigration differently, not as a gap to fill, but as an asset that strengthens our communities. When you step out today, what can you do differently that can make a world of difference? Each of us can influence something. The people we open opportunities up to, the conversations we shape, and the assumptions we challenge. You can start there. And when you meet someone new, instead of asking, "Where are you from?" ask, "What are you passionate about building here?" And if they want to offer more, they will. If you're an immigrant professional yourself, show up, lead with value, and do not shrink. Remember, you have value and you bring value to the table. Your skills, your ideas, your perspective. Lead with that value. Because when you do, you elevate the narrative. Immigration is not a problem to solve. It is not a disruption to harmony. It has a strength to build with. And the beautiful thing about harmony is that it works better when every voice is allowed to be heard.